Hey guys, welcome back to the 1% podcast. I'm your host, Shippy G, and alongside me, back again.
Another day.
Another day.
dollar.
Abdullah Alkobiessy, what's going on, my bro?
Everything's going on.
Bro, the last podcast you sent it. I told you to send it, but I didn't mean for you to send it that hard.
So look, what Grashi means by sending it, it means like out of earth, like something that's out of earth. That's very hard to do. Like, have you ever wondered, I'm going to go out of earth today and explore a new sort of space?
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen, right? But you have to send it, you know what I mean? So we sent it, bro. It's crazy. Like, what we talk about is
I think what you said last week
it's insane.
was something that propelled us even higher, bro. So, man, I just have to give you props for that one.
Got it, my G, so... Look, this podcast, like we said, it's going to hurt a lot of people. We're sorry, but we're not sorry. We're here for the game, and we're here for a massive influence. We're here to speak about things that a lot of people don't speak about, right? And I can sit down here and talk about motivational speakers, and Harry said this, and Dave said this, and wannabe, what color is your Bugatti said this. Look, but when it comes to me, when I'm talking about something, I could relate to the people a lot more. You know what I mean? So you got to listen. You're getting free value. I'm not asking for a cent from you, you know? So
absolutely, man. I feel like a lot of the love that's coming through to this podcast, was coming through to the TikToks, is coming from like the younger audience, the teenagers and the kids and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to talk to them, let them know, like, how does the foundation apply to them, to the youngsters?
With the youngsters, when it comes to kids, right? It's their spark of emotion is completely different to the older age people, right? So, for example, as a young kid, explicit content should never be shown to you over the age or below the age of 18.
Right.
But why? Because to you, as a young kid, it's intimidating to see that. It's something that you shouldn't be seeing. Because your emotions are completely different to an 18-year-old where they've seen it and they're like, okay, it's exciting, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for a kid, it's the spark of emotions that kids have, and younger age people from the age of 16 and under, compared to like, you know, the ages of 17 to like 25, 30, whatever it is the fact that anything that happens in that lifespan that they're living by the age of 16 goes a long way for a long period of time, right? If you're a kid listening to this right now, and you are obviously living right now under the roof of your parents and you're about to explore the world, I believe that when you reach the age of 17, 18, you're about to go into a whole new world. And look, this is the crazy part about kids as well. Nowadays, back then, even nowadays, people think that being a kid, you have to be like 16 and like anything over the age of under 16, whatever it is, under the age of 16, you're considered a kid. But I feel like these days, kids are becoming a lot more intelligent. I know kids these days that are building softwares developers can't do at the age of 30.
Yeah, right.
14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right? I know kids that could create TikTok videos and Instagram videos that could literally blow up over any editor because they know how to use Adobe After Effects and TikTok and CapCut really well. Kids are now developing where they've become much more intelligent than what they used to be. Back then it was at the age of 17, the kid is starting to develop IT, IT sort of work. He's trying, obviously now they're developing skill and they're being educated to like learn new things. But I believe kids are starting to learn at the age of 13, 14. They're becoming extremely smart. They're picking up on things a lot faster than back then, the way that kids used to pick it up on, right? So for a kid, right, if they're growing up and they see to themselves that I'm a kid, I believe we should consider to see them as adults. And if we do make them feel that way, then they're going to be a lot more entitled to feel like they're responsible for a lot more, right? So for example, a kid is at the age of 14 and this kid at this stage, he's going through a journey where he's still learning things. If I was the kid's dad or, whatever it is, and I have some big authority over this kid, if I make them feel like as if they're an adult, then their adulthood won't start at the age of 18. It will start at the age of 16 from 14. Because throughout the entire time, I'm telling them they're responsible for a lot more than what they are.
So they've been given a head start, basically.
Yes. And nowadays, we have to see as kids are below the age of 14. I believe after the age of 15, they should be considered as adults. The reason is because they've become a lot more smart. They're picking up on a lot more. And you know, like nowadays, like they're able to do a lot more than what 20-year-olds are doing, right? They're very smart. They're very intelligent. And for a kid, if you are balancing out your life right now, you're going into a journey where you're about to start working, you're about to start living your life, you want to live your life, you want to start exploring new things. I feel like it's all going to be new to you and you have to experience it to know what it is. But at one stage, once you have the right environment, because you need to be around the right people and you've had the right parents teaching you the right things at the time, then you should be all sweet, especially if you have the foundation. As a young kid, if I knew back then what I knew about the foundation now, I would have loved every minute of it as a young kid. And I'd be 10 times better than what I am right now, right? The foundation talks about the 5 pillars. The foundation talks about what you are. Like for a kid to follow the foundation is quite crazy. If you're a kid watching this right now and you want to live the best life and you want to have a balance in life, and by the time you're 20, you want to be extremely disciplined where you're able to literally like walk into a room and you're the next real thing, and you want to be that as a young kid, I believe you have to follow the foundation, the 5 pillars we talk about, which is, once again, your inspiration. Find an inspiration, and your inspiration is your motivation. Find someone that you will be very inspired by. If you're inspired by this person and you want to become like them one day, as a young kid, this is the perfect start. This is step 1. It's very early for you. It's where you should get started. Step 2 is your mindset. If you have a great mindset, you're not going to give up. You accept in your journey there's going to be so much failures and you're ready for that. You're quite compelled and ready for that. That's amazing. That's 2 of the pillar of the foundation. Number 3 is your health and body. What more do you want as a young kid to start training and going to the gym? You can start doing that by the age of 15. Many gyms allow that. Why don't you get yourself in the gym? Why don't you start now? Why don't you start working out now? You're going to love yourself a lot more as a young kid. By the time you're 20, you're one built man, right? And then, you know, obviously the environment. Number 4 is the environment. If you're around the right environment, if you're around the right people, if you've got really good friends, if you've got really good people around you, and you know they're not there to impact your life in the wrong way. As a young kid, these aren't your day one still. You're still building these people. So why not maneuver from that? Find real good friends that can help you with this journey and bring them on board. Build a companionship where you're bringing them and, you know, deviating them from whatever journey they're taking to that journey, right? To the journey that's amazing right now that you've pretty much found, because I've ended up on your For You page or your, you know, Instagram to tell you about the foundation and how amazing it is and how it could help you as a kid. And number 5 is your education. As a kid, you're already in school. You're still learning. You're still whatever. And we're not telling you to go uni, but finish what's necessary, which is school, right? And uni could be an option, whether you want to pursue different careers. But what I'm saying is, if you follow that and you follow the inspiration that you have and you want to become that person one day and you take that route and you take their journey and you research about them and you find what their good and bad is and what they've went through, you're preparing yourself as a young kid for some massive success later down the line. By the time you're 20, 21, 23, everyone's talking about you. You're the next big thing, right? Any kid right now, right? If I was to bring 25, 30-year-olds to sit down around kids and speak to them and say, hey, you got to do this and you got to do that. At that age, the only reason they're telling them that is because they didn't do it. I didn't discover the foundation, and I wish I discovered the foundation at a young age because I would follow every one step of it. Now knowing what the foundation is and whatever, even though it's never too late for me, I mean, come on, I'm 23 jumping on a podcast and I can give you some big words like this. It's crazy. But what I'm saying is, for a 23-year-old, I feel like I could have done a lot more as a kid. And I wish there was speakers out there that could tell me a lot more. I wish speakers could point me to a point where I want to get started on this journey, right? Speakers talk about many things. And I'm not trying to attack speakers over here. But the thing that they don't tell you compared to me is they don't tell you step 1. They tell you don't give up. They tell you go work hard. They tell you wake up every day in the morning, go to work, come back home, work hard. But these aren't steps to bettering my life. I'm telling you step 1 as a kid. Get started. Your inspiration is your motivation. Find someone that you want to become like and do whatever it takes to become like them. Whatever it is, whatever the journey could be, the failure, the journey, the ups and downs, the hardship that you're taking as a kid, take that all in. When I was a young kid, I wanted to become a football player. I wanted to be one of the best players on the pitch. I did that. I became the best player on the pitch. I took a journey to be the best out there, and then also I wanted to play professional at one stage. As a young kid, I was only limited to my resources, but every resource that I used was to become the best player. At one stage, I got into a club, one of the highest ranking clubs, to play for a big team. And then from there, it was time for me to get scouted overseas. I was going to play overseas, and the only thing that could hold me back was my parents, was my family. And me paying the respects for what they've done to me paying the respects and the love for what they've raised me to be, I only accepted that. But guess what? I found another journey. And hence why right now I'm behind this mic talking to you as a young kid, that even if your first journey doesn't work out, because of a good mindset, you might find the second journey that works out. And this has worked out. Right. So as a young kid, you have to understand your mentality and everything you do at a young age affects your life heavily later. So right now, as a young kid, if I'm being affected by my family, by my mother and by my father, and they're continuously clashing, there's so much things happening back home. It affects me in school. It affects me after school. It affects me with my friends. It affects me with my environment. And that comes out later down the line. When I grow up, I could be doing the same thing with my wife. I could be treating the kids when I grew up a lot, obviously older than what I am. And then I get married. I could be doing the same thing with the kids and not really caring about what they're going through. But as a kid, you get to see that. And you have to understand sometimes as a kid, it's unfair, but you don't have control over many things. But whatever you have control of, which is obviously going to the gym, which is obviously having a strong mindset and, starting a journey. If you have control over that, which you should, then you should really get started. It's never too late, and it's literally the time to get started. If you ask any successful person, right? Any person that's pursued a career and went into something very far in, by the age of 30, they wish, the one thing they tell you that's quite common is, I wish I started earlier, man. I wish as a kid I discovered whatever career I discovered now earlier. Instead of me being 30 now and me leveling up to the point I've leveled up, I would have leveled up by the time I'm 25, and I'll go an extra 5 years to level up a lot more. So as a kid, there's so many things that could happen to you in your journey that you have to understand that could impact you. But whatever resource you have, whatever control you have on making you live the best life for later down the line, get onto that. Right now, you don't have the imagination and whatever I have inside of me as a young kid. If you're listening to this and you say, hey, Alkobiessy, tell me one thing right now, if I'm listening to you, that you would have told yourself as a young kid. And I'll tell you just to get started right now. It's the perfect age for you to get started. It's the perfect age for you to take in a responsibility where you're an adult. And if everyone calls you a kid, you step on them and say, you know what? I'm an adult here. Never call me a kid. This is something my little brother does. You know what I mean? My little brother, he hates my friends calling him a kid. He's a kid, don't get me wrong. But because of his mentality and his discipline and how he thinks about, he says to them, don't call me a kid, I'm an adult. But why? Because he's got discipline, he's got a mentality, he's got the mindset. No kid that has a mindset would ever tell you that. They just accept being called a kid. Yeah. Right? Yeah. As a 25-year-old, would you accept someone calling you a kid? No. Because you're not a kid, because you're disciplined, you're respected, it's something that's inside of you. Same goes with the kid that's 14. If they have that sort of mentality early, they're scary. They're going to take over. And I feel like right now, it's the perfect time for them to take in a career. And even if that career doesn't work, find another career, find another job, find something else that you're better at, find whatever you're good at and get into that. Don't fall and don't be fooled around your environment that's taking you into the bad journey that, you're deriving into, which is, them, telling you, hey, this is the easiest way to get out, which is selling drugs, right? For example, as a kid, if I was to have friends around me that come up to me and say, you know what we could do for a living? We could be selling drugs. And guess what? It's so easy. As a young kid, it's so easy to be influenced by that. But let me tell you something. If you're listening to this right now, just remember, the only reason you're able to make money from selling drugs is because police are doing their job. Police are locking up a lot of people from, selling drugs and being out there on the road to a point where it's such a risk for that drug to go from one place to another, to end up in someone's hand, to sell again. And by that time, there's risk after risk for each person, and each person could go through a risk by the government, and next minute they're locked up. The only reason you're able to make money as a kid from selling drugs is because police are doing their job. Remember that. Police are grabbing people in, throwing them into jail, throwing them into prison, because guess what? It's a risk for them. If drugs was a legal thing, everyone would be doing it and it wouldn't become as expensive. Hence why a lot of people can make a lot of money from it. But the only reason it's become so expensive is because police are doing their job. They're locking people in. So as a young kid, if you understand that and you tell your friends, see you later, I don't want to be part of this group. I am not a part of what you guys represent and what you guys follow. Well done. You're considered an adult because you could make decisions on your own without having your dad and mum tell you anything. Respect to that. And for a kid to do that is an amazing thing, right? It's something that not many people could do. because kids are easily influenced by what they're around. So easily.
Absolutely.
Like you see 22, 23-year-olds, if you tell them, hey, let's go to the club tonight, and they know it's not a good thing, but they're easily influenced and all their friends are going, they say yes. But for a kid, by the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, for a kid to say, no, I'm not doing what you guys are doing. That's scary. That's amazing. Who does that these days? Which kids do that? And if you're a kid and you're listening to that and you do that, like, honestly, the world owes you the love and the respect, because this is something that not many kids could do. So.
You know, the hard thing about being a kid also is like the use of social media, because as you can see, there's like a lot of different types of music that gets shared around that shares the wrong messages. There's a whole lot of influencers out there that share the wrong messages as well. So that's probably the hardest thing about being a kid now, because kids are very impressionable. They like to soak things in, and they like to basically be a copy of what they think is the next coolest thing, right?
That's right. They're quite easily influenced, and if you're a kid, you're easily influenced to music that promotes violence a lot more than someone that's an adult. And even adults these days are influenced by that, which is quite a scary thing. If you're a kid, right, and you're listening to a song right now, and it's wanting you, if you're feeling like you want to become the person that's within that song, then it only makes sense that I'm telling you your inspiration is your motivation.
Right.
That person is motivating you to become that, but is it the right thing? No. But do you see how following the right inspiration, following the right person is so important as a young kid? As a young kid, you need to understand that these people always end up either in jail or end up killing each other. It's never the right journey. It's never the journey that you should be taking. This sort of journey that you take might sound very smooth in the first 3-4 months because of the environment you're in. Maybe a year in, but 3-4 years in, when you're locked up, when something's happened to you and it's affected your family, it's affected your mother that's looked after you for 9 months straight, it's affected your family heavily that's raised you up to be what you need to be, to a point where you've changed yourself entirely for that, it's going to hurt you day by day. You're going to wish that you've never ever come near that. Remember, rapping and music and everything, as long as it doesn't influence you and it doesn't make you a bad person and it doesn't bring the bad out in you and it doesn't change you, then it's okay to listen to. But as a young kid, you can't come and sit down with me and tell me, hey, Alkobiessy, I'm going every day after school. I've got my iPod with me. I've got my music wrapped in, and your playlist is full of violence, and you're telling me this is not changing you. No, you're motivated by it. You need to change yourself ASAP. Okay? You don't have a single song in your playlist that promotes anything other than violence. Everything is promoting violence in your music. Everything is so aggressive. As a young kid, you're quite influenced by that. That's what it tells me, right? There's no music right now you're listening to that could be, love music. What's wrong with falling in love? It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you less of a man. Being a man is what you need to be when you fall in love. This is what it is. You being that man, you're a loving man, right? Without having that, what? You think it's gangster to have that? You think because of the music you listen to, it's what you represent, and now you want to be that. Do you know this is not the life people end up liking? If you go to any of these rappers and you talk to them, they tell you, God damn, I've been betrayed. I've been this. And what they promote is loyalty. And it's the biggest bullshit thing. Half the time they're getting absolutely broken by the closest people betraying them. But why? Look at what they're promoting. Look at what they're giving back to the community, right? I have to say that right now, music and what it promotes is influencing people a lot more than what it is. And remember when I told you, kids back then would listen to a song but never be influenced because they were always considered as kids. But the kids that we have now are like considered as adults because their mentality is crazy. That's right. They're easily influenced.
That's right.
So it's a whole different ball game here. You know what I mean? So it's you gotta really, really take into account the music that you listen to, the people that you surround yourself with. Everything goes a long distance when you're a kid because later down the line it comes back affecting the shit out of you. It really comes back at you. And by 23, 24, guess what? You're locked up. You're in prison for the rest of your life because you've done some dumb shit. 30, you're regretting every moment of that. Every single moment in prison that you spend in, you're regretting that. Right now, I could be the source of change to you. If I'm ending up on your thing, I could be a source of change to a journey that you know that's absolutely shit right now. You know it's not the best. You know it's violent. You know it's not good. You know you're about to hurt people. You know you're about to represent something that your family doesn't represent, something that your mom doesn't represent, something your dad doesn't represent. And this could be the sign for you to change. This could be the sign where call all these friends, give them a phone call right now and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm out. You want to change with me? Come on board. You don't? I don't want to be part of this anymore. This could be the moment right now that you do this, and in 3 years' time, your journey goes from here absolutely wiggly, and it ends up on a deadline to a straight journey, a massive pathway, and you're continuing to benefit your family, continuing to benefit the people around you, and you're known, you're that guy. This could be your journey right now, because you took the right journey. You took you deviated from a journey that wasn't the best. You knew that wasn't the right thing to do. You knew it was bad people around you, and you were strong enough to say, no, I'm taking myself away from this. I'm packing my bags. I've got a new sort of friends that I'm going to be around. I've got right now my dad and my mom being the biggest influence to me instead of these people that I'm influenced around. And guess what? I'm going to start changing myself in 3-4 years time. Instead of not giving anything back to my family, instead of not doing anything for them because of what they've done for me, right? Instead of that, what am I doing? I'm going into a journey that's going to absolutely diminish and destroy my life. And right now could be the source of change. Right now at this stage. Look at the friends you're around. Look at the people you surround yourself with. Look at who and how you talk and how you treat your family. Look at what you're inspired by. Are you inspired by people that are promoting violence? Are you inspired by people who have caused major, major harm to the world? Are you inspired by Hitler instead of being inspired by Mike Tyson, for example? Because Mike Tyson, he's a professional boxer and he led the way even though he was bad at the start. What did Hitler do? Kill 7 million innocent people.
Right.
So it just shows whatever you're inspired by, it could really make a change.
Well, then let's talk about...
You got to be aware of that.
Let's talk about friends here for a second as well. So, I've known you for such a long time. It's been more than 10 years or so. So as a kid, as say for instance a 14-year-old, what are some things to look out for when it comes to choosing your friends that could have an everlasting long companionship where you can build up something together?
Many friends come and go. As a kid, you have to understand one stage or another, you're going to lose 1 or 2 of your friends. It's meant to happen and you have to go through it. If you don't go through that and it happens later down the line, it will absolutely break you. If you've ever gone through such a problem with a friend, as a young kid, it becomes a lot more toxic than dealing with it as an adult, and that's a normal thing, right? As a young kid, you have to understand as well, if you're building your relationship with someone, you're only building it as a young kid, but you're not building it as an adult. When you start building it as an adult, it becomes a whole different ballgame. Yeah. Because as an adult, when I'm building a friendship with someone, I'm trying to build it into this brotherhood sort of thing. I'm trying to build it where me and this so-called friend that I have, we want to become loyal and we want to build an entity where we're going to last forever, right? That's because of his finances. That's because of who he is as a person. And we could benefit each other in many ways. He could make me happy with his money. I'll make him happy with my money because out of love for him, as out of love for me, nothing, that's fake in a way, right? But as a young kid, there's no resources like that. What it is, it's how this person just treats you. And at the end of the day, you go home, he goes home, you're only seeing each other back in school, right? So it's not really as bad as if you hang around with this person. The best thing about it is if you do hang around this person and then later down the line, after your adulthood starts coming in, you're still friends, that becomes a whole nother ball game. With this person, you're gonna last forever. And if there's any problems, you're far a lot better to solve the problem than literally not talk to each other ever again. Right. You've been through it since day one. That's what it's called. That's why we say day one. People think day one is like, I met this guy and it's been 3 months and I love him so much, so he's my day one. No, it doesn't work that way. Day ones are the people that, with your struggles, with everything, even it could be as a kid, it could be for years and years and years, they were there for you in your hardest times, they were there for you in your lowest times, they were there in your highest times. Those are people considered day ones. And to become a day one, it takes years. It takes a lot of research and understanding about the person, because you're still understanding and developing with this person day by day. As a young kid, if you build a relationship with someone just in school, you have to understand if this person is no longer in your life, so be it. Find the next guy. It doesn't matter. It's really not as big as someone that's, obviously financially stable or living out of their family's house or even living in their family's house, but I get to pick you up in my car. We get to hang out. We get to eat at the restaurant. We get to build a foundation together. And a few years later, we're still considered brothers, not friends. It's a lot more for that. If something happens and we're actually going through it, we're a lot better. We're far a lot better than that to come back and, resolve our situation out. Compared to a young kid that's hanging around with another kid that's, they built a relationship with. How many kids, as a young kid, when you're going to school and you build a relationship with someone and now you have to move schools because your family's moved homes and now you no longer get to see this kid and it's like they're no longer in your life. Yeah, so It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Just make sure that you're not being influenced by them in the wrong way and that's it. But the real friendship, The real friendship that begins is when you are capable of picking up that friend in the car. You're capable of spending on that friend. He's capable of spending on you. He's capable of picking you up in his car. You're capable of seeing each other after school in many ways. You're capable of building a business together. That's where the real friendship starts. And when that friendship starts, it becomes a journey. How that journey goes, how it unfolds, how many years, how long it, it stays healthy for is very important. Right? And when that happens, years later down the line, if something breaks and something ends up happening that's quite bad, you two are a lot better to fix the situation and come back to how you were than actually completely break up. And there could be things that happen in the relationship between you and that friend that could be very disrespectful, things that could be extremely wrong, things that could be extremely harmful to you. And those are things that obviously you can't say, you're going to go back to, because as a friend, you should never ever do your other friend wrong and disrespect them in a way where they're never ever going to forgive you again. It's like right now, if I was to bring someone for all their life, all they've done was good, all they've done was great, I go and talk and ask the community about them, and everyone is saying, this is the most amazing man. He lived the best life. He respected us. He gave back to the community. He respected his mother. He respected his father. He looked after his friends. He loved his friends. He gave back so much to the community. 40 years of their life, and then that 1 year, they go and kill an innocent human being. That ruins all the good they've done. That literally ruins every good that they've ever done. It ruins all of it. It's as if they've done no good. So as a friend, you have to understand, this is the problem with a lot of friends as well. They go into a relationship. One friend is being too nice. 4 or 5 years in, this guy's too nice to me. And guess what? As humans, what do we are? We learn to take things for granted. And because we take people's kindness as their weakness, we try to take advantage of them. So as a friend, when I see that, and it's been years, I can go and disrespect this friend. I can go and be extremely rude to him. I can say whatever I want, and I know he's going to come back right back in my circle. But that is taking advantage, and that is where the other friend needs to understand this person is taking advantage of you. You need to remove yourself out of this relationship, and you need to cut this person completely off, because this person is taking advantage of your kindness and your love, and they're ruining every good that you've had together. And this is a red line as well. Disrespecting the family, swearing at your family, swearing at people who mean so much to you. That there ends a whole friendship that's lasted for 15, 16 years. I don't care what it is. If your family, by the time we're 3, 4 years into our relationship, you have to understand that my family is your family. If my mum is going through something, you're there before me as a real friend. If your mum is going through something, or your dad's about to, be deported out of a country or something, I'm there for that. I'm affected by it. Because by the time it's 3, 4 years in, you've already let me into your house. I've already let you into my house. We now have this connection. We now have this foundation built. We now have this extremely locked in relationship, right? Where if you were to ever disrespect my family, it's like you've disrespected your family, and it's like you've broken everything at once. As a friend, you have to understand, when you're 4 or 5 years into that relationship, it's quite big. Even for a young kid, kids these days, what's so crazy about building a friendship is straight away into their head, they think, this is my day one. This is someone that I love and I'll never want to lose. And for a young kid, because their emotions are quite high, if they ever end up moving schools or whatever, it affects them so much because they no longer get to see the person. Right. It's such a hard thing to take in, but if these two sides ever end up seeing each other again and building a relationship, it never breaks. Ever. That is the biggest relationship that two could have. Build it from school, and later down the line come back together after they've moved schools and now they're back to how they were from before. That's crazy. That's real. That's real. Yeah. That's some real shit there. So
and crazy. To the people out there, it could be youngins, it could be lonely ones. It's the last question as well. I just really want to know. Yeah. The lonely ones. Yeah. What do you have to say about that? Because there's a lot of lonely young kids out there lately. There's a lot of lonely young men as well. People who suffer and complain that they have no one to talk to, no one to vent to. What advice could you give them that could help them actually build a new circle from the start? Picture this. It's a dark day today. You woke up. So much problems are happening with your father and mother. Your boss called you up. He's obviously delaying your shifts. Now you've instead of you having 4 to 5 shifts, you've only got 2 shifts now throughout the week. You're running low. Your bank account's not looking the best at the moment. You're still at school. You're trying to go to school and still work for your family because your family is struggling. And then from there, things are getting really, really hard. Now, as a young kid, it's a lot to take in. As a young kid, it hurts you. As a young kid, you are being affected by your problems. And this is one problem. It could be 100 or 1,000 different other problems. But here's one thing.
if you're a kid going through that, it's only written for your journey to become stronger later down the line. It's only written for you to become a lot tougher with situations that are going to get a lot worse. If you're a kid and you can take that in, and the only thing you have in your possession right now, the only thing you could do by winning is taking it all in and learning from it. As someone that's been through a lot of hardship, I can tell you right now, standing behind and sitting behind this mic right now and talking, I could tell you one thing. The biggest thank you I've ever given in life is the hardship that it's put me on to become the man I am today. So right now, any hardship that you're facing as a kid, anything that you're going through that's extremely hurting you, that's extremely breaking you inside, it's only making your journey a lot better for later down the line. It's only preparing you for the worst that's about to come. And it's only the thing you have right now that you're in control of is to take it in, thank life, and keep going. You have to understand your mindset is your biggest asset. If you, in your mindset, you're telling yourself you have to be positive about the situation and you're still going to rock up to work and you're still going to see the problems and you're going to still take them in, then a few years later down the line, any problem that comes, it doesn't matter to you. It's become so easy and now you're continuously developing yourself. The only reason why you slow down is when you make your problems big. If you make your problems big and they become a headache to you, they take 2, 3, 4 weeks of your time where you're no longer doing anything. You're not working on developing yourself. You're not working on making yourself a better person. You're not working on developing your finances and your balance in life. You're not working on developing your physique. No one likes to go to the gym when they're going through extreme hardship and they're going through extreme pain back home. But if you do that, you're the man, you're the real deal. You're not a kid, you're an adult. Right? And you have to understand you need to be preparing yourself for that. It's going to come no matter what. Everyone goes through hardship. The most richest people on earth, the most successful people on earth, Jeff Bezos, one of the richest person on earth to ever exist. What happened with Jeff Bezos, right? His wife broke up with him. They went through a major breakup, and this is one of the richest person on earth, right? And it was a problem to him. It was hurting him. Of course it was. But do you see? It still happened to someone that's successful. It still happened to someone that's rich. So you seeing it as a kid, you going through it as a kid, it's written for your journey. It's only to make you a lot tougher later down the line. Do you want to be the person that commits suicide by the time they're 23, 24 because of a bad mentality and not going through hardship? You need to go through hardship to become tougher. You need to go through hardship so you build yourself. You need to go through hardship so you're able to tell the problems, fuck you, I'm going to go harder and harder and I'm going to become better and better day by day. This is what you owe yourself as a kid, and you need to take them all in and you need to thank every problem that comes in.
Wow. Sent it with this. My guy, once again, you had to kill it for another podcast, man. I appreciate that, man. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, do give us a subscribe, do give us
Thanks
a like.
for having me, bro.
And
I appreciate it.
You want to shout out your Instagram this time? Or?
You can find me. Just search my name. If you find me, you find me.
Easy. Follow me at Young CPG. Anyways, guys, subscribe.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Guys, you killed it.